what is going on YouTube. Today I'm on another mission. Today's mission: ride to Mansfield, Louisiana with some Buffalo soldiers to attend a Black History Month parade. We might ride in the parade, but I won't know until we get there. I don't know if you can see on the camera that the streets are wet. And to me, that's not a really good sign.
Turn left onto Louisiana 28 West.
Wonder if you can hear my GPS talking in the background. In the previous video, I showed you all how I get Android Auto on my Indian Pursuit. Now you can hear the voice from the Android Auto talking in the background. If this weather holds up, everything will be fine. If not, I might have to bail out. Yep, I'm starting to see some rain on my visor. A couple of drops anyway.
At the light, turn right onto Louisiana 3054 South, Vandenberg Drive.
Let me see if I can turn on this heat on these grips. There's a button down here, if you can see that I talked about in my first video. On most days when I'm riding in Louisiana, it's really not cold enough to use those heated grips. But this morning is different. This morning, the temperature has to be below 40. And once you add the wind that it gets from this motorcycle, might be high 20s, but I don't know. I have to check my phone to find out. In any event, I'm already starting to feel the heat from those heated grips right now.
In 1,000 feet, at the traffic circle, take the first exit onto Union Drive.
Might turn on the heated seat, but we'll see. If I haven't talked about it already on the previous video, the one thing about this Pursuit that I don't like is the fuel gauge. There's definitely a disconnect between what the fuel gauge shows, what's in the tank, and the miles till empty. This thing always shows I have less miles to empty than I actually have. Got Mad Dog and Easy Rider. Y'all probably remember Mad Dog from that Iron Butt challenge. In case y'all forgot about Mad Dog was the one on the Hunter Goldwing who led that Iron Butt challenge when we rode from Pineville, Louisiana to El Paso, Texas.
And Easy Rider rode with me on the road trip to Memphis, Tennessee to attend the Buffalo Soldiers event there.
I don't know what the key alert means. Hope that don't mean the battery low on my key fob. Here we are riding in the rain again. The heated grips are good though. Y'all know I'm not a fan of this rain. So let's hope this rain, at least the rain slacks up. Got a red light on my vehicle with a key going through it. I think that has to do with the key fob. But I'm gonna look it up to see what it is. These heated grills really work. They're actually hot right now, so I might have to turn them down some. I'm about to listen to some music, and I'll catch up with y'all once we get to our destination. This is the Fair Weather Rider. Put some miles on these bikes. Before I tune out, just let me let y'all know that Mad Dog up there is on that Hunter Goldwing non-touring. Easy Rider is on that Victory Vision. What I believe to be the precursor to what you see me riding is Indian Pursuit. Now, enjoy the ride while we put some miles on these bikes. I just want to chime back in to let y'all know, as I said before, the one thing that I don't like about this Indian Pursuit is the gas gauge. When I started riding this morning, the gas gauge said 147 miles to empty. I've been riding about 15 to 20 miles, and now it says 142 miles to empty. That's something India needs to look at, especially if I'm going to be riding this thing cross country like I did when I rode to El Paso. I need to know whether or not I can rely on the gauges on this bike so that I can determine when I need gas. Right now, do I go by the miles to empty? Do I go by the bars on the gas gauge? Or do I just try to calculate in my head how many miles I think I should get? But that defeats the purpose of the technology if I got to keep counting in my head, right? When I take it in for the 15,000 mile service, I'm going to tell them again, I think there's a disconnect between the miles to empty and what's in the tank. Had to turn the heat down on these grips. That heat is kicking. It felt like I was gonna burn my hands if I kept the heat as high as it can go. So I had to turn it down to about halfway. And it's still hot. Anyway, let's go. So now I'm back on mission. Let's get to Mansfield and let's put some miles on these bikes. Now, I feel the need for that blind spot detection. When that car rolled up right beside me, I couldn't see it in either of my mirrors. So I can't wait to get on one of those new 112s with that blind spot detection. I don't know if it's gonna be worth trading up because I've got this bike right here pretty much to what I want it to be. Maybe add one or two more things and I'll be done. But as you all may have heard me say before, I am looking to add a second horse to the stable at some point, probably next year. Unless I run across something that's a deal that I can't refuse. I'm looking at a sports touring bike. But I also like those. But I also like the Indian Chieftain. I know I'm not going to get a full dress bike. That's what I got this one for. But it would be great to have a sports touring bike to take on trips like this one where I'm only going about 100 miles or so. And save this one for those long trips. But I won't be doing that until I get at least 20,000 miles on this bike. Which I'm told is barely breaking it in. But I'm gonna get there. I see Mad Dog up there running that gold wing. And that Victory Vision is staying right on his tail. If you follow me on some previous rides, especially that ride to El Paso, I like to fall behind a little bit just so I can dig into this Indian. And so that catch-up speed, or that torque, did y'all see that state trooper hidden up in those trees? Eventually somebody's gonna get got. The next exit is Natchitoches, Louisiana. If you saw the video I made when I went on that juice run, I took the back roads and rode from Alexandria to Natchitoches, Louisiana to go to Walmart to get some cold pressed pineapple juice. But this time we're going a little further. Mansfield is the mission. I'm starting to feel the heat from the heated seat. Feels like it might get too hot. We're about to find out. And the heat on the seat is not turned up to high as it can go. When we get to Mansfield, we're going to meet at the old Walmart parking lot. We'll make a pretty good time. But we'll see. And whether we get to ride in the parade. Mansfield, 1 mile away. We're almost there. Once we get to Mansfield, we're going to be heading to the old Walmart parking lot. So I exit, y'all. Exit 172 to Mansfield. My first time coming to this Walmart. I'm assuming there's a reason why they call it the old Walmart parking lot. Yeah, that threw me back a little bit. Digging into the throttle like that. Hopefully we can minimize all the heavy breathing y'all hear me doing while I'm rolling on these things. We stopped at this Love's service station for a comfort break. Now it's time to get back at it. On this trip I did learn that the heated grips and seat on this Indian Pursuit works great. The grips got too hot. I turned them up as high as they can go. Had to dial it back a little bit. Same thing with the seat. Turned it up high as it can go and had to dial it back a little bit. Now we're about to make this last stretch to our location, y'all. One of these days, not today though, I'll just make that U-turn right there on the spot. Not ready for that, but I'm getting there. That old school Lincoln, I think. I think we're on course now, headed to the old Walmart parking lot. Yep. It looks like an old Walmart sign. What's up, family? Fair weather rider. We decided not to participate in the parade. Look at all them Corvettes lined up. Yep. Look at how the doors on that would open. Wonder which one of them had the best sound system. I'm pretty sure that group of walkers right there in the blue shirts, black bottoms, are from Alexandria. Somewhere in that area, because I know they've been in a whole lot of parades in Alexandria. Yep. So they're going straight. But we're going to try to get to this gas station. I got about 55 miles till empty, y'all. Yep. That's the parade. Yeah. They got everything blocked out for the parade to come through. Check out that Victory Vision, y'all. The last time we stopped, I asked them how many miles they had on it. It only has a little more than 12,000 miles on it. And they still got them to get up and go. Has that 106 Power Plus. That 106 Power Plus was the precursor to this 108 Power Plus. And then it just came out with that 112 Power Plus. I've already been on the Indian website trying to find out when there's going to be a demo day anywhere close to me. Jacksonville, Mississippi is probably about 200 miles from my location. Orange, Texas is a little over 100 miles. Unfortunately, the Indian truck never comes to the Lower Power Sports where I purchased my motorcycle. I think the last truck to come through there might have been sometime in 2016 or 17 when the Victory truck came through. Now, it might have been before that. I'm thinking it's probably somewhere around 14 to 15, 2014, 2015, when the Victory truck came through. And I got to ride one of those cross countries, which are great bikes, by the way. So that 106 Power Plus is the precursor to this 108 Power Plus. And now we have the 112 Power Plus. And I'm looking for a chance to ride, especially with all that technology that they're supposed to put on there. But all that tech, I'm still waiting for Indian to take these mirrors off the handlebars and put them on the fairing where they should be. Gonna get some gas. Then I'll check back in. All right, family. We're on our way back to Alexandria. I was gonna try to get some footage of the parade. The parade was about 3 miles in length. Probably would have taken about 45 minutes to an hour to complete the parade at the pace that they were going. But I think it's more important to take care of one of our soldiers. So we're gonna get these soldiers back home to Alexandria, make sure they're good to go. And then I'm gonna get to editing some videos. My goal this year is to put about 10,000 miles on the motorcycle. I think I'm off to a pretty good start with this 200-mile ride. I know that I have at least 3 rides that I have planned for this year. The next trip that I'm going to take is probably going to be to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I plan to ride to Tulsa, Oklahoma, Concord, North Carolina, and Houston, Texas. Those are all rides that I'm going to be doing with members of the Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club. Depending on the date that he holds this event, Just GQ is going to have a Peace Army event in New Orleans. So if I don't have a conflict, I might ride to New Orleans to attend that event. And last year, I was going to ride the Traveling Cars Run to the Heroes Forum, but I started having some problems with my motorcycle, so I didn't make it. If I have the time, and I don't have a conflict, I might put this pursuit on the road to Mansfield, Tennessee. Put some miles on it that way. I gotta tell you, family, the ride this morning, riding to Mansfield, it was cold, and I felt cold. But the heated grips in the seat did their job and kept me as warm as they could. But this ride back is not that bad, even though I don't think the temperature is going up that much. Maybe because we don't have as much wind. Either way, I'm still wearing this jacket. I'm probably gonna get me a leather jacket during the warm months and hope that they're on sale. I saw an Indian jacket that I really like. But they want over $400 for it. Even if I were to use my military discount, it's still over $400. We'll see. Eventually I'm gonna get it, but I'm just trying to see. 55 miles to Alexandria. We're passing by Natchitoches, Louisiana again. That's where my old alma mater is, Northwestern State University. How many of y'all remember the motto? When I say fork 'em demons, what do you say? Fork them all. That's right. Fork 'em demons, fork them all. Passing through this old city makes me think about the days when I was attending Northwestern State University. I was commuting from Alexandria. This was probably late 90s. And I had me a 1995 Turbo Sprint. That Turbo Sprint got me to and from school for about 2 years until I graduated. Once I graduated, I decided to upgrade my car as I upgraded my career. But that turbo sprint, it was in that turbo sprint that I actually learned how to drive a standard. That turbo sprint with 5-speed, and that turbo sprint that I got down up and down this highway 9 days a week. And since it was a little small car, it got great gas mileage. My nephew Leonard came down to Louisiana one time, and there were about 4 of us riding that turbo sprint going to visit one of our other family members who had been put in prison. And after he experienced that turbo sprint, we probably talked about that thing for about a year. Talking about it was just turbo and name only. Of all they did was make a lot of noise without going anywhere. He was right. But that turbo sprint got me to and from school for 2 years. If I can find a picture of an old turbo sprint, I'll post a picture with this video.
I tell y'all what, the next time I see my nephew Lil Leonard, I'm gonna ask him if he still remembers that turbo sprint. The last time I talked to my nephew Lil Leonard about that turbo sprint, a really good laugh about that turbo sprint, how it used to make a lot of noise but never really did a lot of moving. But I tell you one thing, gas prices back then, you could probably get a gallon of gas for almost about $1 or less. And that turbo sprint took me to and from Northwestern, a 50-mile commute one way, and I could probably get to school 1 week on 1 tank of gas. So that turbo sprint, I couldn't find a picture of it, but I would tell you that turbo sprint was the best gas saver that I've ever driven, other than this Indian Pursuit. Let's get back on this road to Alexandria, and I'll check back in with y'all when we get there or we get closer to our destination. Alright, kinfolk, I'm going to end this video right here. Rest assured that all the soldiers made it home safely, and we are prepared for the next ride. Until then, if you have a motorcycle sitting in the garage and the weather is fair, pull it out and put some miles on it. Let's go ride. Fair weather rider, I'll be back.